Alright, this is part two of making a plant or leaf or whatever. Um, what I do now is Google search leaves on a branch, and I try to find out what kind of leaf I did in part one. Um, this right here, I couldn't find it. It didn't have a label for the image that I used, which is okay. I prefer to know exactly what kind of leaf I was using. Um, but there's enough there's enough leaves that look similar enough to that I could probably have a freedom to pick out what leaf I want. So I typed in leaves on a branch, what leaf I wanted it to actually be. So I like to work in symmetry. Uh, but this asymmetry of some of this stuff, it's all asymmetrical pretty much. But this asymmetrical layout where the sizes of the leaves are different, that's very appealing to me. Um, and This one is more, you could do this in a more symmetrical way because it's coming all branching off of the end of the branch. It's all budding from the end of the branch, so you could probably, and it's mostly looks like it's symmetrical in a way. One, two, three, four, five. So it's kind of a pentagon type of shape. So that would be easy enough to reproduce in symmetry mode, and I probably should pick that out. But I scrolled through, and you can see there are different formations. Um, so it's nice to go through it, and I wouldn't just wing it, make it up. I would probably pick out a reference and go with it. Now I went with this persimmon branch right here. Uh, because it would give me a chance to make a flower if I wanted to go with it, make a blossom for a persimmon. If I wanted to really detail this even more. But the other thing is it is laid out in a symmetrical fashion. So you have this leaf here, and these leaves on these paired up leaves, at least are placed in the same way, symmetrically. The branches themselves are not symmetrical. They alternate. So we could kind of like deal with that as a last move. But for the most part, we could stay in symmetry for a long time and lay out our branch like that. So let's see if I can. All right. All right. So we're gonna go after the persimmon branch. Start out with that. We could lay out the leaves first. So you have this, and you press Control C, copy, and then Control V. And by the way, this is gonna freeze up because okay, what it was I forgot. When you add texture, you're making it at a very high resolution, but because that's the way the stamp really needs that, all those triangles or polygons to put the detail in. But once you get that, you should be able to reduce the count, the triangle count. The Sculptris usually only operates in within 2 million triangles, but you can only get it to really work reasonably well when you're working under 1 million. So right now we're at 500,000. So if I just added 2 more leaves, I'd put it at 1.5 million, and it's going to crash on that. So since we have our detail, we should be able to reduce and still maintain a certain level of it. So let's see what we can get away with. Maybe if we do that. So reduce, let's see if it's See if we could get it down to 100,000. I mean, there's still the detail is still showing up pretty well. Seems all right. Maybe it's taking me a while here, so let's do that because I can see it's really starting to degrade a little bit. So let's work with that. Okay, so now let's try Control C again, V. All right, so then we Control D to deselect and select those, and we want to get that rotation there. So rotate global. We can grab, bring it down a little bit. Probably scale it down just a little bit. Although in this picture, they're very similar in scale. So scale global and XYZ. Bring them a little closer. Maybe rotate them away a little bit more. And maybe we can, on the next one, we can start to reduce the resolution as well, I suppose. So Control Z, C, and then Control V, Control D. It looks like they're kind of overlapping here, so I guess we'll have the bottom ones overlap. Probably rotate them a little bit more because you can see they're kind of starting to move away from this. This one seems more horizontal than this, so like that. I'm going to take my cue from these lower leaves and make these smaller. Scale global and XYZ. And maybe I reduce those a little bit. See if we could get it down to total of, well, it's taken a while. I apologize that this is a demo. Alright, so let's put another couple leaves on there for the heck of it. So Control C, V, Control D, deselect, rotate a little bit more. Oh, I still have scale on. Rotate a little bit more. Scale just a little bit down. So now we could play some we could scale these bottom ones a little bit more. And I guess we could maybe it's not a bad idea to have them all touch. Thinking about 3D printing, to have those connections. Alright, so that's the symmetrical layout of that. We could still do one more thing. We can make the main branch here. And we can make the little branches, but we don't have to position them asymmetrically until we get everything symmetrical first. So we start out with a sphere, put that in the center. Go to scale, just scale global. Make this long stem. Whoop. Then you go back to scale global and XYZ. Could be thinner. Obviously, it's a thinner branch. Maybe I'm taking some liberties, and we'll see. So we have that. We could do copy, Control D, select those, rotate them, scale them down, grab. Let's see. All right, so let me see. I'm control Z and see if I can. All right, maybe I need to start over with those. Okay. Because if you use a scale and you just put it on global, that way you could get a, you can shorten it if you want to. Once you have that kind of rotated, it gets really funny when you try to do things like that. So I'm going to size it the way I want it first. All right, now I can put it into place. And sometimes you press enter to lock it so that you could keep it focused on what you're working on. That's good. We'll move the leaves accordingly, or just start roughing it out. So we have that, so we can use those. Control C, V, Control D for deselect, so that we can select what we want. Put these into place, rotate them. Grab. And, well, looks like it should be rotated a little more. Okay, and then one more. Control C, V, Control D for deselect. Rotate. Go to scale, because that's a smaller leaf, so we can change that. Probably scale these down. All right, So we can make sure those leaves fit on there kind of nicely. This one, all right, maybe move this up a little bit more. All right, so we have a rough layout of this branch. There could be more space in between the leaves. I guess I could do that now. So what I would do is I'd press shift and I would go to grab, and I could just kind of like add a little bit of space there. These, I like the idea of them overlapping because, like I said, with 3D printing, it'll work better. All right, so at this stage, I might save it. All right. The whole point of doing a plant is if you just done an insect, you'll have a place to put your insect, basically. So that's end of this stage. We'll do another part to finish it out.